Hello everybody, Ollamh here, and today I wanted to kind of go over some of the stuff that we use as far as our audio. Now, I've seen a lot of videos, both amateur and professional, that have had very, very dodgy, very problematic audio. From the trying to take out the hum of an air conditioner or the airflow from a heater, causing the audio to be kind of almost watery sounding, almost sounds like you're underwater, to the sounds of the camera person breathing or smacking their lips or chewing gum. So I wanted to talk about how we do things, because we started out in front of the green screen in particular, and in the Geek Corner, our audio wasn't the greatest. It was kind of dodgy, especially if you go back and look at some of the really old geek trivia videos. There was some dodgy sound there. So how do you get good sound, and what do we use, and what have we come up with to improve our audio on our videos? Well, none of it's really expensive. There's a couple parts that are kind of pricey, but we're going to take a look at just a few things that you can do to make it to make it a bit more affordable, but sounding better. And the first thing is a shotgun mic. Now, this is not a particularly great shotgun mic. This is kind of one of your bottom of the line, bottom of the barrel. This is the cheapy guy. This is the cheap guy. This is just an HTDZ HT81. This sells for about $25 on Amazon. There's a lot of different people that sell it on Amazon. Like I said, it's a cheap one. It's not the greatest quality, but it's good, especially for beginners. And you can work with it and make it work well. This is what we started using when we started doing exterior audio. And this is what we still use today, mostly because I can't afford Rode mics. So how do you make this sound good? Well, number one, you want to make sure that it has, it just takes a regular AA battery. Just stick it in there and seal it up, and you're good to go. Now, some sellers say that you can use phantom power, but just about every time I've tried using phantom power from a soundboard or something like that, it creates a hum. It's actually too much power and generally creates a low bass hum in the mic. And I've tried it with all kinds of different cables. I've tried it with just about every configuration I can imagine, and it still winds up with a hum. The only time that I haven't gotten a hum is by using a kind of a different soundboard that we'll kind of cover a little bit later. Alright, so now you've got your mic, you've got your cable, you've got it so that it can plug in either to an exterior digital audio recorder or your camera. Wonderful. That's great. But that's not all you need to do. There are some techniques that you can use and some things that you can create at home to make it better. And the first and foremost is a shock mount. Now, this probably looks really weird and really cheap and really ineffective. And it is cheap. The base for the actual shock mount itself is a cricket tube that you can actually buy on Amazon for under $8. The wire that I have here is just one that I had laying around the house from I don't even remember what. And then just a dowel rod. Now, for the actual shock mount itself, all you use is hair ties, and basically you want them in a cross type pattern. So we've actually have 5 of them set up, and all you do is, if you look at once the cross pattern is set up, if you look, there's a small square in between each set of hair ties. And basically you just thread it through. Now, it does take a little bit of technique here as far as how to do it. And one thing I have found out is you want to make sure that the end of your mic actually is about 1/2 inch or so before the end of the actual tube. Now, the tube itself will come with a bottom plug, basically, that you can pull off, and it'll come with a coned top, a cone top, basically. That all you do is you cut that off. Simple enough. Cut that off. Thread those through. Tie those off so that you have one hair tie one hair tie going this direction and one hair tie going that direction, and you've got a shock mount. The idea behind a shock mount is that you can move whatever the mic is attached to, and those elastic bands are going to absorb some of the vibrations that would otherwise transfer through to the mic and thus into your audio. Now, the blimp idea is basically lifting it up and away from the camera or from your boom pole. And this makes it easier so that, you don't have your mic right there by the camera. You don't have your mic right there by your cameraman, necessarily. It's up and out. Now, for the dowel rod, what I used was a 3/4 inch wooden dowel rod. As you can see, I still have plenty of dowel rod left. Basically, just cut it down into a section and drill a hole just a little bit bigger than the metal rod that you're going to use to attach it. Pour in some sort of decent adhesive, stick it in there, let it dry. Now, this isn't going to fit perfectly. Actually, I have here somewhere... Oh, yes, there it is. I have here a mic clip that goes onto the top of the camera, and as you can see, it'll clip on there, but it's very loose. It's not going to hold it upright and proper. That's where this comes in, and this is just sports tape, compression ace bandage. I think it's actually technically the actual ace. It's just compression tape. And basically, you just wrap it around your dowel rod at the bottom until, when you're snapping it on, it compresses that tape down just a little bit so that you can put this clip on and it's going to hold. No matter which direction you have it, it's going to hold. Now, as you can tell with ours here, you actually have three different diameters of tape. The center is designed specifically for this clip. The outer end here is designed for some of our other mic clips, because not all mic clips are exactly the same. Some are a little bit bigger, some a little bit smaller, depends. And then the back one here is quite a bit thicker for a different type of clip that we're going to talk about in a little bit. Now, if I could do it over again, and I probably will do some more of these and make some more of these, I would change how I adhered it to this rod to our cricket cage. I just used some regular super glue that you can find at like Home Depot or actually Walmart or Meijer or any of those. What I would use instead would be like a 2-part epoxy putty or something like that. Something that is going to really mold around that and hold that rod as well as the cricket cage. As is, the glue sufficed for now. So, those are some of the tips. Now, there's one other thing that can help out a lot, particularly with room noises and air noises, and if you have airflow and stuff like that, this is kind of a big one, and that is a wind muff. These are super simple to make. You could turn around and you could spend $40, $50, $60 on this, and you don't need to. This is just fake bear fur, I think is what it was actually marketed as. It's got the cloth back, it's got the nice fur on it, it's not actual real fur, so if you're worried about that type of thing, congratulations. And basically you want to measure it around here, you want to measure the circumference of your tube. I think we added a half an inch, and then just drew up a seam at the end, a seam down the most of the length, and left a small opening there. And this just fits very nicely, very neatly onto your cricket cage, or your shock mount, I suppose we should be calling it now, because it is now officially a shock mount. Usually you want to leave a little bit of room at past the end. I have had some experiences where when using a boom pole, the end of the mic was right up against the end of the cricket cage, and so was the fake fur, so the end of the mic rubbed up against the wind muff, and actually created noise instead of the wind muff actually created noise instead of taking it away. And usually I just kind of tuck it in a little bit in the back just to give it a little bit of snugness there. And this is what we use 9 times out of 10.
Hey everybody, Ollamh here. I just wanted to give you a quick heads up. This is not the end of the video. Actually, this is the end of part 1. The video, once it was actually completely edited, was still like 20 minutes long, and I didn't want to do a full 20 minutes video just on this. So we broke it into 2 parts. Part 1 as you just saw, is all about creating the shock mount and putting things together. In part 2, coming out next week, we actually go into a bit more of what we use, like how we get the audio in front of the green screen, how we get the audio at the nerding, what you can do with it, how different types of attachments, and we even play around with just the camera audio versus the shotgun mic on the camera and everything like that. So stay tuned next week for part 2 of our audio demonstration. Now that looks pretty good. You can actually see quite a bit of detail. You can't see perfect detail because that wasn't what the picture was going for. And if you... I didn't know there were any... there shouldn't be... Whoa! What the heck are you guys? You are not friendly ghosts.